Right now, your jaw is doing less work than any jaw in the history of your species. You don't even notice it. Soft bread, tender meat, mashed everything. But your jaw wasn't built for this. It was built for something much harder. And the reason your face looks the way it does traces back to one invention. Not the wheel, not the boat. Something older and stranger. Fire. Let's go back about 1.9 million years, long before modern humans existed. This is Homo erectus. Not us yet, but close. Look at the skull. A jaw like a shovel. Teeth the size of your thumbnail. Chewing muscles so strong they anchored to a ridge running across the top of the skull. Every meal was a workout. Raw meat, raw roots, raw everything. Chimpanzees today still live this way. They chew for over 6 hours a day. 6 hours. Just to get enough calories to survive. Then something changed. Someone learned to control fire. We don't know exactly who or exactly when, but we know what happened next. Someone dropped meat into that fire, maybe by accident, and it changed everything about how the human face would look forever. Cooking breaks down tough fibers before your teeth ever touch the food. Heat softens muscle, breaks starches apart, makes calories easier to absorb. In 2011, researchers at Harvard ran an experiment to measure exactly how much this mattered. They had people chew raw meat and raw yams and measured the effort. Chewing raw meat took nearly twice as many chews as chewing the cooked version. Multiply that difference across every single meal, every single day, for a lifetime. That's not a small saving. That's hours of your life given back to you every day. And evolution noticed. A jaw built for 6-hour raw meals was suddenly overbuilt. Big muscles need big anchor points. Big anchor points need a heavy skull. Once you don't need that muscle anymore, that bone becomes a burden, not an asset. Generation by generation, the jaw got smaller. The ridge on the skull disappeared. Teeth shrank too. You have smaller molars than any hominin who came before you. But here's the part nobody expects. Shrinking the jaw didn't just change your face. It opened up space. Literally, inside the skull. Chewing muscles used to wrap up and over the skull, squeezing the space for the brain. Remove that muscle, remove that pressure, and the skull has room to grow. Anthropologist Richard Wrangham built an entire theory around this. He called it the cooking hypothesis. His argument, cooking didn't just feed the body, it fed the brain. Around the same time the jaw was shrinking, brain size in our ancestors nearly doubled. That's not a coincidence. That's a trade your ancestors made without knowing it. Less jaw, more brain, a smaller mouth for a bigger mind. But there was another side effect, one that had nothing to do with intelligence at all. A smaller jaw meant your face had to be rebuilt around it. The jaw got shorter, so the lower face got flatter. Your ancestors' snouts began to disappear. And somewhere in that reshaping, something appeared that no earlier human ever had. A chin. Neanderthals didn't have one. Homo erectus didn't have one. You do. Scientists still argue about exactly why the chin exists. But it shows up right as the jaw shrinks. Your chin might be nothing more than leftover bone, with nowhere else to go. A structural footnote to a much bigger story about fire and food. So by now, cooking had rewritten your skull, your teeth, your brain, and your face. But it also rewired something you'd never think to blame on a campfire. Your throat. A shorter jaw pulled the whole lower face inward, and the throat had to shift too. The space behind your tongue got taller, more open, more flexible. And a flexible throat is exactly what you need to produce the range of sounds in human speech. Some researchers think cooking didn't just shrink your jaw. It helped set up the anatomy that speech needed. Nobody claims fire invented language, but it may have cleared the runway. Here's the part that should feel strange. None of this was planned. Nobody sat by a fire 1.9 million years ago thinking about jaw mechanics or brain volume. Someone was just hungry. Someone was just cold. Someone just wanted dinner to be less work. And that small convenience became the single biggest anatomical shift in the human head in millions of years. Which brings us to the part of this story most people never hear. Because your jaw didn't stop shrinking when prehistoric fire was invented. It's still shrinking today, faster than at almost any point in human history. Look inside almost any modern mouth, and you'll find the same problem. Crowded teeth. Impacted wisdom teeth. Jaws too small for the teeth meant to fit inside them. Orthodontists didn't exist for most of human history because this problem barely existed. Now, in some modern countries, the majority of teenagers need braces or extractions. What changed wasn't your genes. It was your food. Modern food is softer than anything your ancestors ever cooked. Processed, blended, pre-chewed by machines before it reaches you. Your jaw is a muscle-driven bone. Muscles that aren't used don't grow properly. A jaw that never has to work hard develops smaller, weaker, and more crowded. Anthropologists studying ancient skeletons found something remarkable. Hunter-gatherer jaws almost never show crowding. Farming societies, eating softer grains and porridge, show more crowding. Industrial societies, eating today's ultra-processed food, show the most crowding of all. The same fire that once freed your ancestors from hours of chewing has kept softening your food ever since. Cooking gave your face room to change once. Modern cooking is still changing it. And there's one more consequence hiding behind all of this, one that isn't about appearance at all. A smaller jaw doesn't just mean crowded teeth. It can mean a smaller airway. Some researchers link the shrinking modern jaw to rising rates of sleep apnea and breathing problems at night. A structural change that started with a campfire 2 million years ago might be affecting how well you breathe tonight. So here's the full shape of it. Fire made food easier to chew. Easier food needed less jaw muscle. Less muscle needed less bone. Less bone freed up space in the skull. That space helped the brain grow. A reshaped throat may have helped set the stage for speech. And a shrinking jaw, still shrinking today, is now colliding with food that's softer than ever. One small habit, repeated for 2 million years, built the exact face looking back at you in the mirror. You didn't choose your jawline. Your ancestors chose convenience, meal after meal, fire after fire. And 2 million years later, you're still making the exact same trade, just with better appliances. Next time you barely have to chew your dinner, remember what that ease actually cost. A jaw that used to work 6 hours a day. A face that used to look completely different. Fire didn't just cook your food. It carved the face you were born with.